Welcome back to side 2 of the Enfield Talking newspaper. Now, earlier you'll recall that we were talking about the 50th anniversary event at which the Mayor of Enfield, Councillor Christiana During, presented some certificates to people who had been long-serving members of the Enfield Talking newspaper. Now, unfortunately, we can't have Councillor Christiana During with us this evening, but we do have Phillip Dawson, and we do have a certificate, and we do have Dave Foster, who has been our stalwart recording engineer in this group for a very long time, and has been with the group for, we think, about 24 years, something of that order. So now Phillip is going to do a Lady Mayor impression and give Dave his certificate.
Thank you, Malcolm. I'm not sure, I haven't got the neckwear that Christiana During had on the evening of this very glamorous neckwear. I think she's probably got a lower voice than I have, actually, in real life. But yes, it's as Audrey isn't here, it's my honour to present to you with this certificate of outstanding contribution, Dave, for more than 20 years of loyal service to ETN. And hope listeners will indulge us a few minutes while we ask you perhaps a bit about it. You know, when was the first time that you can remember joining us?
Oh, that was... Tony Jones actually introduced me to it. He was about to move to Ipswich from working with BT, and he'd been doing the talking newspaper for quite some time, and said to me, "I know something you'd like to do. You'd like to do this, wouldn't you?" And I said, "Well, I'll give it a go," thinking, I might be on it for a couple of years. And the years went by, and recordists came and went, and I sort of stayed there. So yes, it's been good. I've seen many changes and many things going on. But yeah.
Well, thank you, Dave. It's a pleasure to hand you this certificate, and for your loyal service, and listeners very much appreciate it. And I'm delighted to say that Keith is recording on his own tonight, so Dave on the controls is joining us as a reader, Dave on the mic. So exactly. Thank you very much indeed.
And can I murder it? This is the question.
So over to you, Dave, for the first story of side 2.
Thank you so much. Dan Jennings and Annabel Brown had never met before they were signed up to appear in the new principal Shakespeare production of Much Ado About Nothing. But now they spar like old friends, both on and off stage, after an 8-hour drinking session in a local hostelry provided the perfect recipe for getting to know each other. We are now very much closely acquainted after a gin-soaked Saturday night, revealed Dan. Most of the cast were out with us at the beginning of the night, but then everyone seemed to fade away, leaving just me and Annabel to carry the flag. Mutual inebriation was also a perfect preparation for their starring roles as Benedict and Beatrice in Much Ado About Nothing, which opens at Capel Manor on June the 21st. Shakespeare's most feisty of couples certainly shared a lot of good times together. The script suggests that they were once an item, while their constant banter is that of sparring partners who have shared many a bottle of grog in their time. And then there's our singing, said Annabel, laughing. The concept for the show is of an Elizabethan-style disco, set in period costume, but with characters suddenly bursting into songs from the 1970s. So you can expect a few duets and a bit of the Bee Gees, she explained. My version of tragedy is a particular highlight, or lowlight, depending on your musical tastes, joked Dan. The principal theatre company performs Much Ado About Nothing and The Tempest at Capel Manor in Enfield from Tuesday, June the 21st to Saturday, July the 2nd, at Southgate Cricket Club from July the 12th to the 16th, and Coram Fields in Bloomsbury from July the 21st to August the 6th. Tickets and information from 0208 807 6680. I'll repeat that. 0208 807 6680.
Okay, just before the break I talked a little bit about the Enfield Festival, and here's some more on that. Triple jump world record holder Jonathan Edwards raised the Olympic flag at a ceremony at Enfield Civic Centre last week. The former Olympic champion, whose 18.29-metre jump in 1995 is still unbeaten, hoisted the flag in Silver Street last Thursday. The flag is a symbol of Enfield's support for the London 2012 Olympic Games and kicks off the Enfield Festival, a summer of events across the borough that the council hopes will inspire people to get involved. Council leader Doug Taylor said, "We're delighted to welcome Jonathan to Enfield. It's a real boost." Throughout the borough, people are committed to the Games and to the accompanying cultural festival. We have a lot of local sporting and creative talent. We're encouraging all sports and culture and see the flag as the inspiration for sports and creative achievement in Enfield. Councillors have set aside £200,000 to support events such as Enfield Autumn Show, the popular New River Festival and Edmonton Carnival under the banner of the Enfield Festival. The branding will help promote a host of events happening in the borough throughout the summer, as well as drawing more people to Enfield. For a full programme list, visit www.enfield.gov.uk/arts and culture, all one word. That's www.enfield.gov.uk/arts and culture, or call 020 8379 8353. That's 020 8379 8353.
This Sunday, performance artist Bryony Kimmings will be getting drunk, royally drunk. She'll be hitting the highest point you can reach before paralysis, just before you lose the use of your limbs and are incapable of speech. Technically speaking, she'll hit blood alcohol level 0.09. Not only that, but she'll have to maintain that level for 7 hours if her experiment is to succeed. I'll be drinking vodka, because that's always the drink they suggest for studies of this kind, and I can't mix it with any sugary drinks, just diabetic orange juice, she said. I will have to be drunk from 10 a.m. and maintain that level of drunkenness, so will probably be topped up by a shot of vodka every hour. Bryony Kimmings is a performance artist preparing for her latest show, 7 Day Drunk. Bryony will be placing herself in controlled conditions and gradually increasing her alcohol intake over the week until she hits Sunday's levels of sloshedness. Watched carefully by a team of scientists and a documentary filmmaker, she will examine the link between drink and creativity by working on her forthcoming show, a mixture of songs, dances, and spoken word, in different states of inebriation. Perhaps I'll discover a formula whereby 6 shots of vodka plus Bryony equals amazing creativity, she said, laughing. For months I've been excited about this project, but now I'm a little nervous. My mum was very worried, and so was my GP, but I think I've reassured them both now, especially my GP, who sat in on some of the meetings. I'm more concerned over how I'm going to be feeling on, say, day 4, when I'm feeling like death and can't get out of bed. In preparation for her project, Bryony has been researching the great drunks of our age, finding a particular admiration for Jim Morrison. There were 3 main types of study outlined, she said. The first type of person used drugs and alcohol as a kind of mystical transport, like Jim Morrison, who attempted to open the doors of perception. The second used drink more for effect, like Oscar Wilde, who saw himself as above the common herd, the antithesis of any ordinary human, because of his alcoholism. While my favourite is the idea of an artist who has to be drunk because he's too sensitive to deal with real life, such as Van Gogh. Although her first major drinking episode was on her 14th birthday, 6 cans of cider and I was unconscious, she said, Bryony has since had a more responsible attitude to alcohol, but admits being drawn to people who have themselves suffered from alcoholism or substance abuse. I'm fascinated by these people, and certainly find I create more if I'm drunk or hungover. I like the looseness that drinking brings, and the decisiveness of being hungover. Basically, I don't care so much when hungover as I just do stuff. My brain works in a very simplified way. Bryony Kimmings performs 7 Day Drunk as part of the Postcards Festival at Jackson's Lane in Archway Road, Highgate, on July the 9th at 8 p.m. Tickets cost £10, and if you would like to go, call the box office on 0208 341 4421, 020 8341 4421.
Enfield will receive £50,000 to decorate the town centres in Olympic colours ahead of the London Games next August. The Mayor of London, Boris Johnson, announced last week that every borough would be given cash to decorate key areas with flags, banners and bunting to help spread the look and feel of the games. Boroughs will be able to choose from official materials which will be made available in a look book, but will be able to choose how they use the decorations themselves. London landmarks will also be dressed up in the livery for the 3 weeks of the Olympics. Mr. Johnson said, "The Games are a unique opportunity for London to secure its position for another generation as the best big city in the world. We all have a duty to make the most of this opportunity, and I am determined to ensure every part of the capital gets to benefit and enjoy the Games. This fund will help us put on the best show and showcase ourselves to the world, wherever we are."
Cyclists are being urged to get on their bikes for a good cause this month. Enfield's Big Bike Ride has been organised by Enfield Council and both Edmonton and Southgate cycle clubs to raise funds for Nightingale Community Hospice Trust. The ride on 26th of June will be a 16-mile trail around Enfield and neighbouring boroughs involving 2 different groups. The Red Ride is for independent riders with marshals supervising at strategic points along the cycle route, while the Yellow Ride group is for the less competent cyclists who will be escorted by members of the 2 cycle clubs. Money raised will help fund the hospice, which supports cancer patients in the borough by providing both practical and emotional help from the point of diagnosis. David Gacha took part in the bike ride last year with his 8-year-old son, Oliver. This year he plans to ride with his 2-year-old daughter, Grace, who will enjoy the ride in a chair attached to her dad's bike. Mr. Gacha, whose mother suffers from lung cancer, said, "I cycled in the bike ride last year, and it was good fun with all the families taking part. It's good to do what you can for charity, and I'm looking forward to bringing my daughter with me to enjoy some fresh air and exercise." Alan Sitkin, chairman of the Environmental Scrutiny Panel, added, "Another reason for turning up is to show support for cycling in Enfield. The council is doing its utmost to expand our greenways network and rebalance street use so that non-motorists may also thrive. The more people take part in safe and friendly events like this one, the greater the number of cyclists we will have in the future and the lower our borough's ecological footprint."
The senior women's team at Enfield and Haringey Athletic Club finished in an encouraging 6th place on their debut in the Premier Division of the United Kingdom Women's League on the outskirts of Manchester on Saturday. Competing in the top flight for the first time following promotion from the Southern League last year, Enfield's women were far from disgraced, with Dominique Blaise enjoying a particularly impressive day as she claimed top spot in the long jump and finished 3rd in the 100-metre hurdles before teaming up with Terima Thompson, Rachel Telfer-James and Tereo Newby to win the 4x100-metre relay. Margaret Adeoy's triumph in the 200 metres was the club's only other victory at A-string level, but Georgia Atkins won the B-string 100-metre hurdles. Elsewhere, Enfield and Haringey men's team overcame the absence of 12 competitors through injury to also finish 6th when they began their campaign in the Premier Division of the British Athletics League in Cardiff on the same day. Ben Sumner, the 400-metre hurdles, and Ben Nagy, 3,000-metre steeplechase, were both winners at A-string level, while Chris Carter, 1,500 metres, and Paul Aslop in javelin emerged victorious in the B-string events.
Winchmore Hill were knocked out of the Middlesex Cup at the quarter-final stage after a disappointing 124-run defeat to Ealing. Ealing batted first and posted a decent 253 for 3 from 27 overs, with Patrick Foles finishing on 107 not out. Winchmore never looked like reaching the target as they were all out for 129 inside 17 overs, although Luke Stoughton, 56, did hit a half-century. Stoughton was also the top scorer the previous day at his 123rd as his 123 guided his side to a 2-wicket victory over Twickenham in Saturday's Middlesex County League Division 1 clash. Twickenham were all out for 306 At Lasbourne, Edwards finished with 5 wickets from 96 from his 19.4 overs, and Adam Holworth took 3 wickets for 114 runs from his 24 overs. Winchmore did not have the best of starts, as they found themselves 49 for 2, but Sean Levy, 85, joined Stoughton at the crease, and the pair reached 246 before the loss of their next wicket. It was left to Edwards, 20, to see his team home to victory. Northampton Exiles were also victorious in Saracens Hearts League Division 3 as they reached Southgate Adale's total of 192 with 1 wicket to spare. North Enfield, meanwhile, could not find the final 2 wickets as they attempted to keep Totteridge, Milham's 2s at bay, defending their total of 203. P. McMurdy, 55, and Escandy, 34, not out, and boosted Enfield up to a respectable score of 203 to 6 from 53 overs, although the total was just shy of what was required. A. Andrews and Gandy both took it upon themselves to staunch the flow of runs from the Totteridge bats, as they each snared 4 wickets during the chase. However, Totteridge reached their target with 9 balls to spare.
Enfield team leader Darrell Braden has tipped the class of 2011 to follow in the footsteps of double Commonwealth Games champion Leon Baptiste at this summer's Balfour Beatty London Youth Games. Braden, Enfield Council's principal sports development officer, will once again lead the borough, one of 33, at the finals day in July as they bid to repeat a successful 2010 performance that saw them win gold in the angling, boys athletics and disability swimming. Having claimed the boys athletic title last year, hopes are high there will be another Baptiste in the borough after the 25-year-old stormed to 200 metres and 4 by 100 metres relay gold in Delhi last year. And Braden believes that thanks to the impact the Games has on community sport in Enfield, there will be more than a few following Baptiste's lead in the not-too-distant future. I really enjoy leading on the Enfield entry as the Everybody Active Sports Development team share the responsibilities and each officer takes responsibility for around 5 or 6 sports each. So it's a real team effort, the 31-year-old said. Teams to watch this year are angling, table tennis and athletics in particular. We also tend to do very well at the disability sports, so keep an eye out for them as well, and hopefully we can have some real performers. Last year, Enfield finished 8th overall as the Jubilee Trophy went to Bromley, who edged out Croydon, and 2009 winners Havering into 2nd and 3rd respectively. Braden insists the final placings pale into comparison with the surge in community sport brought about by the London Youth Games, but he's expecting Enfield to be battling it out for the medals in a number of sports. In the past 2 seasons, we've finished 6th and 8th, so we're hoping for another top 10 finish again this year, he added. We've won the angling the past 2 years, so hopefully we can get the hat-trick this year. Also, our disability teams have been in the top 3 in the last 3 years, led by Ian Reddington. Balfour Beatty is committed to helping raise the aspirations, motivation and attainment levels of young people in communities where it operates, and has committed over £2 million to help develop the London Youth Games until 2013.
Age proved no barrier for John Hall as he turned in a vintage performance to win 2 gold medals for Great Britain in the European Veteran Athletics Championships. John Hall of Ladysmith Road, Enfield, won both the men's 60 to 64 age group 10-kilometre and 30-kilometre race walks at the championships in the twin towns of Thionville and Yutz in France. The 62-year-old athlete, who's been competing for 40 years, saw off challenged by Austrian rival Ludwig Nistelberger to take the 10-kilometre title in a record time of 54 minutes and 9 seconds. John, who's won 7 of 13 walks against the Austrian in the past 3 years, also beat him in the 30-kilometre competition. His winning streak came to a halt at the UK Athletics 20-kilometre event last week, when he took on younger athletes, including Chinese national record holders and other Olympic hopefuls. But John enjoyed the atmosphere at the event held on the London 2012 Olympic racewalk course and going past Buckingham Palace and other landmarks. Racewalking may look easy to spectators, but is a technical event. Rules insist walkers must maintain contact with the ground at all times. This means that the heel of the front foot and the toe of the rear foot should be in contact with the ground at the same time. The knee must also remain straight as the heel of the front leg touches the ground, and all of the moves should be executed in one fluid motion. After his recent efforts, Mr. Hall said, "I will be taking it easy following the competition overseas, but will return to racing later this month for the British Masters, and then in the autumn for a cross-country race."
A series of opera concerts for older people in Enfield will be taking place this summer. The Connaught Opera Company has been given a £3,000 grant to perform 10 concerts as part of the Enfield Festival. The three-piece company, comprising singers Mark Archie and Glenn Wilson and pianist Nicholas Bosworth, launched the concert series on Sunday at the Dugdale Centre. The company has been signed up for 70 concerts across London to help connect older people with the 2012 Olympic Games.
Okay, and to finish off today is a couple of letters of feedback for Enfield hospitals. The first one is from Joan Kipling of Russell Court, Oakwood, who says, "I recently spent 2 weeks as a patient on Magnolia Ward at St Michael's Hospital and must give heartfelt and sincere thank you to Dr. Osman and his medical staff for the exemplary treatment and care I received. I should also like to include the auxiliary staff at the hospital in my thanks for the kindness and help so cheerfully and readily given to us patients. Much has been said lately about the NHS, but we in Enfield are fortunate to have had such splendid people working in our health service." And here's another letter from E. Pollock of Greenacre Walk in Southgate, who says, "I was recently a patient for 2 weeks on Montreal Ward at Chase Farm Hospital following a fall and requiring major surgery. I wish to praise staff of all grades for the excellent treatment I received. Cleanliness on the ward and the choice of food and its presentation were exemplary. Thank you all for the care and kindness I received, always with a smile in spite of the long hours. Our NHS staff work with such dedication and professionalism that they all deserve our gratitude. Thank you, Chase Farm Hospital. May you prosper with no threat of cuts in the future." Okay, well, we've reached the end of our program for this week. Thank you for listening. So from the team of me, Malcolm, Phillip, our new reader, Dave, and Keith on the controls, it's goodbye.
Goodbye.
And now please remember to turn over the address label in your postal packet, put the cassette into the packet, and return it to us as soon as possible in readiness for the next edition. And don't forget, you can call Diane de Jersey regarding any help you may require in connection with Enfield Talking Newspaper. The Enfield Talking Newspaper will be with you again in 1 week's time.